As college students, it is safe to assume that most, if not all of us, have been contacted by a sorority or fraternity at some point. Ever considered joining a sorority to enhance your college experience? That's the first line of the multitude of emails sent by the SIU Fraternity and Sorority Life Department to my school email. The neglect to inform possible recruits is that, for many members of the LGBT community, women, and people of color, Greek life has done anything but enhance their college experience. Greek life has been historically exclusionary of minorities and is built upon foundations of toxic masculinity and rape. It is impossible to affirm fraternities and sororities as these traits are ingrained into Greek life. Greek life was built by white men for white men. Okay. Phi Beta Kappa, the first ever fraternity, was founded in 1776 in Virginia. At this time, the average college student was white, male, and Christian, as you can see. As colleges become more and more diverse, its education became open to other ethnic and religious groups. Racially exclusive policies were written into Greek life constitutions. In Fraternities Without Brotherhood, written in 1995, an author by the name of Alfred M. Lee wrote, "The social fraternity can be summed up as Aryanism, the acceptance or rejection of persons for membership on grounds of race, religion, and national origin. To the extent that Aryanism persists in them, social fraternities represent a basic threat to democracy in the United States." Even now, as historically white Greek life organizations have opened up to people of color, minorities experience a different type of discrimination within these spaces. Fraternities hold parties mocking slave auctions, committing blackface, and other racist themes. People of color, majority white chapters, are questioned on why they didn't just join an affinity chapter. As a black female WGO, or white Greek life organization member says, "They started saying it was weird that I joined, because that's what black members do," in reference to charity work. They were questioning if I really belonged. According to a study published by Oxford University, people of color within WGLOs have reported feeling uncomfortable demonstrating anything, quote-unquote, racially charged. A Puerto Rican fraternity brother was forced to take down a Puerto Rican flag in his room as it was un-American. A black fraternity member engaging in activities with black friends was compared to the television show Soul Train by a white fraternity brother. Two Asian sorority members felt the need to distance from each other as to not appear racially segregated from the white members of the sorority. These are just 3 stories in the heaping pile of many people of color who have been made to feel uncomfortable within their racial background in Greek spaces. People of color, though, are not the only victims of exclusion in Greek life. Queer people have also been harassed in Greek life. Gay men, specifically within fraternities, are forced to demonstrate identity in ways their straight counterparts do not. Anthony Clemens, president of Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity at Grand Valley State University, an employee at the university's LGBT Resource Center, says, "There are 2 distinct areas in which gay men's experiences in fraternities differ from the experiences of straight men who are part of the same institution. Their concealing of behavior masked as being too gay and therefore non-masculine, and the special intergroup networking done by gay members. In certain cases, queer men may feel as if they must reject everything, quote-unquote, gay, and act in a way that is hyper-masculine, and doing so, rejecting gayness in both themselves and pleasing the gayness of others. And this sort of self-oppression is undeniably harmful and a result of the denial of out gay men in fraternities. As of 1996, almost 24 years ago, 6% of fraternity men labeled themselves as queer. Only 2/3 of those men were out. It is difficult to say whether or not these numbers are still accurate, as queer men, especially those who remain in the closet, are exceedingly difficult to number. On top of the already complex gender expression and sexual orientation issues, over 70% of participants in a study conducted by San Diego University professors reported homophobic or heterosexist attitudes within their chapters, including but not limited to homophobic remarks, usage of slurs, and jokes at the expense of queer people. Pause. I am going to go get my charger, because that would really suck. Technical difficulties. Okay. One can infer that, as far as homophobia goes, transphobia will follow. For reference, Title IX is a civil rights law passed in 1972 that protects from discrimination based on sex in educational programs or activities that use federal finances. Greek life, however, is exempt from Title IX's protection. Many fraternities and sororities have requirements in place to bar transgender students from joining. Even after requirements were changed in many Greek life organizations in 2016, some stipulations state that members must be legally identified as male to join fraternities and female to join sororities. This would, in some states, require expensive and invasive sex reassignment surgeries, as 21 states require these surgeries before legal documentations can be changed. Some organizations still don't allow trans students to join, even after sex reassignment surgery and legal documentation changes. Zeta Phi Beta's diversity statement, for example, made only last year, required all members to identify as cis. Only after national attention did the statement be revoked. Not all problems with Greek life are due to exclusionary practices. Greek life is a center of rape culture and violence on campus, and it is nothing new. Studies on violence against women and other pledges and fraternities have been reoccurring since the 70s. Everyone knows about hazing. From the multitude of articles to shows and movies, hazing and Greek life go hand in hand. Thankfully, laws have been put into place to inhibit what can happen during the pledge experience. However, in 2017, a sudden boom in fraternity deaths shook the United States. Tim Piazza, a pledge at Penn State University, died after being forced to drink copious amounts of alcohol and falling headfirst down a flight of stairs. Maxwell Brewer at Louisiana State, Andrew Coffey at Florida State, and Matthew Ellis at Texas State all died of similar causes. Hazing is not the only source of violence in fraternities. Fraternity brothers are 3 times more likely to rape, and women in sororities are 74% more likely to be victims of rape than other college students, which is already 1 in 5. Alcohol at fraternity parties increases the risk of date rape, drug usage, and inabilities to consent. Colleges across the country are experiencing an influx of assault cases. 3 sexual assaults in 1 month in Texas, several women hospitalized in Wisconsin, and an email guide with the subject line, "Luring your rape bait" in Georgia. These are just a few examples. Overall, these are just 3 reasons Greek life should be abolished. From the history of exclusion of minorities, racist parties, toxic masculinity, enforcement and ideal, trans exclusion, violence, and rape, Greek life is beyond salvageable. The abolition of Greek life is possible through plenty of means. Colleges, however, tend to stray from giving frats and sororities real consequences due to financial consequences that might ensue. Fraternity men, on average, donate more to their alma maters than graduates who did not participate in Greek life. Tactics to abolish Greek life, as presented by The Atlantic, include renewable donations to alma maters with the promise of Greek system abolition on campus, parent involvement, and student boycotts or protests. Do not allow Greek life to foster racism, homophobia, and violence. Instagram, however silly it may sound, has been critical in raising awareness about issues within the Greek organization. Searching Greek results in Instagram handles Abolish Greek Life Denver, Abolish Greek Life Alabama, etc. Over 50 similar accounts exist, as shown on screen. With such easy access, there is no excuse to stay uneducated on the harm that Greek life has caused. Okay. Sorry, I don't know how this works.